Meeting to order for Monday, January 13th at 6 p.m. And I would accept a motion to appoint a new chairperson because, as you know, Chris Jarvis stepped down as chair.
Move to appoint Denise.
Dave
Comment.
moves to appoint Denise. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Paul? Any other motions or appointments? Nominations, I mean, thank you. Thank you. Okay, all in favor of Denise being chair, say aye.
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 And against? There you go. Denise will be the new chair until March town meeting.
Yep.
All right, congratulations.
Or through the meeting.
Through the meeting.
After the meeting.
Yeah, because you will vote again after the meeting.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's Denise. So it's Denise. All righty. So then you need this, because there's an addition on that. So when you move to approve the agenda, I need that added. I got someone to sign it, so.
Okay. Motion to approve the agenda with an addition.
Yeah, I need to add under the traffic ordinance for Gilead, I need to add you need to sign a municipal resolution for the downtown transportation grant, filing a grant to get the parking lot out here all done. So we need a resolution for that signed by you guys. So if you can add it, we'll just add it after the ordinance.
Move to approve with additions.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, appointments. We have the rec committee with the February 15th winter event.
Thank you, guys. A few years ago, I don't remember which year, but Bethel for All and the Recreation Committee did a wonderful winter event, Valentine's event. It was at the center. It was well attended with sledding and winter activities and a bonfire. Anyway, because it was such a wonderful thing that happened, the rec committee wants to hold an event this year. This is a preliminary flyer. I just only have that we need to update it. It's not completely the flyer.
That's kind of what you did before, right? You had
Yes.
a flyer and stuff.
Yes. So we want to.
You need it back. There you go.
A loving winter event.
Oh, what was the time on there again? I'm sorry.
It's
10 to 2.
10 to 2
Thank you.
on Saturday, February 15th. And so we're going to do that, and I want to find out how to get the fire permit. We did it last time.
Yeah, you'd have to, Gary Kugler is currently the fire warden and his number, I think, is on our website. And, but if not, just call the office and Kelly can give it to you because he's currently the fire warden. And there's a couple of deputies too, Corey Richards and Jason Rogers. So you could reach out to either one of them.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll do that.
Yeah, and their phone numbers, I think all their numbers are on the website. So, and it may not be Gary's, it may be the deputy, so you can call one of them.
Because we used the fire hose on the trailer last time to.
From the chicken cooker? You mean the
little fire hits we put in the activity trailer.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sorry, I thought you meant the fire department's thing.
It's the activity trailer.
Yeah, Chris Forrest should be able to help you get those.
Right.
Nice.
So that's what we wanted to do.
Nice.
So I'm just here to get an approval on that.
Is there any more questions for Ellie?
I think my opinion, she's good on the fire, only if as long as you talk to one of the fire wardens, if no fire warden, no fire. But just because they know all the burn regulations, so other than that, I don't see a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, do you need the bath? You don't need, well, no, the bathrooms are closed.
No, we don't
Yeah,
do the
that's right.
bathrooms because they don't at this time of year, but it's weather permitting, of course. And we're excited because we have snow for sledding. The ice rink is doing wonderful. The ice is so perfect.
Oh,
People are
sweet.
loving the condition of the ice. They're having a good time on the rink. And, we have snowshoes. So we're promoting snowshoeing. I haven't heard back from the grant that I applied for, that you approved that I applied for about snowshoeing. I haven't heard back from them yet. But so we're gonna, promote snowshoeing on that, that day as an activity too.
Oh, it'll be fun. If you need Kelly to put anything on, Facebook or anything, just let her know.
Yeah, we do have a really good, Lindsay is very good about it.
Yeah, so she wants, Kelly to like it or whatever, however
Right.
Facebook works, or you want someone on Front Porch Forum or anything like that. You just send it to Kelly. She'll be happy to help you.
Oh, thank you.
So we don't need a motion on
Mhm.
that.
No, so I have your approval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
as long as-
so while I have your attention and this public comment is next, and while you said about help with Kelly, I understand that you have an application for pool director.
I do.
So, the committee's been concerned about that families are now, they have to make summer plans for the kids and everything.
Mhm.
And is there a particular reason why I can't get Kelly or the committee to, update the website, or have something instead of what's on the Recreation Center website, because it's misleading? It talks about pool signups in May and the pool managers, and that's.
Oh, I can have Kelly, update rec page on the website. I didn't even.
Yeah, because it's, people
Yeah.
are very confused right now.
Yeah, so I can have, I don't know why, we've been very clear about this on Front Porch Forum and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
else. So no
Right.
pool director, no pool. We
Right.
tried something different last year. I'm not gonna try it again.
Right,
And but we have an applicant, doesn't mean we haven't interviewed yet or anything like that.
Right,
So we'll
right.
see. Hopefully it's a good applicant and we're able to open the pool. That's always the plan.
yeah,
We tried it last year with a couple of managers. It was not successful. And so we won't revisit that.
but I just thought maybe on the website, having nothing there would be better than.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that it
Yeah,
had
it's-
changed. Yeah, I'll let Kelly know. No
Yeah,
problem.
because,
Just tell it, stay tuned.
yeah, stay tuned. That would be good, because parents are starting to make summer plans for their kids, and the
Yeah.
website is.
So we still have to go through the process of vetting the applicant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just received the application and which was great. And I know Dietrich is advertising again. We have multiple times. We had the whole flyer for a
Right,
year.
right.
And so we are gonna see if we get any other applicants as well. And then we'll interview hopefully a couple of candidates, but so far we do have one applicant.
Yeah, so I thought maybe people just said, just stay tuned for further information coming or something.
Yeah, sure, because we have spelled all this out in a Facebook post and everything
Yeah.
else. So, but that's all right. Yeah, no, it's good to know.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'll tell
Oh.
Kelly.
And then, one last question is, basically, because in your budget, recreation budget, you only, had, wages of 27,835 last summer, and the summer before only 38,265. So basically, what you budgeted for, it didn't get spent.
No,
Yeah,
exactly.
whatever. So I was wondering, where does that extra money go?
It stays in the undesignated fund balance, so it just becomes basically a surplus. Or if say we had a really big overrun in the lister's office, it all goes into the same pot at the end. So if somebody else had an overrun for some unexplained reason, then that's what happened. Otherwise, it just goes to the undesignated fund balance, which is, layman's terms, is a surplus. But there was a couple of reasons that didn't happen last year. We had budgeted last year for an overlap of Dietrich and a new pool director.
Oh,
And we didn't get a new pool director,
Okay.
so we had a couple managers and, tried to work it out that way. So, but that's what happens with the money.
it goes in the circle.
It does, yeah.
Okay, thank you for answering my question.
Happy to help.
Is there any other public comment?
Lisa, are you waving your hand?
Lisa's on.
Okay, she's saying no. Okay. Just want to make sure.
All right, now we will move on to the budget draft
Oh.
and review of the town reports, town meeting warning, et cetera,
Yeah.
discussion and approval.
Whole bunch of stuff. So budget is, at this point is the budget. I think I made you a note. This is the 12/26/24 version. I had ended up making a couple of changes because I received the current insurance amounts from VLCT Passive and VSERS, or excuse me, not VSERS, VFIS for the fire department. So your current budget is 5.33% to be raised by taxes over last year. The expenses are up 4.83%. And I do want to say that that 4.83, just to jog your memory, includes Warva, Tri-Valley Transit, Food Shelf, the $10,000 for the senior center. So it includes everything. Even those are add-ons they'll be voted separately on the warning. They're still included in that. So that's the only changes. I don't know if anybody else has any questions or changes they want to make to the budget.
No, I just have questions about the summer.
Okay, yeah. All right. So if we leave, okay, so if leave the budget at that, then,
That's with the 36
yep,
hours, right?
that is, yeah, page.
Page four?
Police, page 4.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is with, yes, 36 hours of policing. So obviously all my notes don't go in, it just, those are for us as we go through the process. So,
The public watching.
yeah. So the other thing is, I want to talk about is, since we'll roll from that into the warning. So I had a meeting with, a good meeting, last, I don't know, a couple Fridays ago for about an hour and a half, with Lang Durfee at Bethel Mills. And then I did put out another email to Owen, and Jesse, other business owners in town about the proposed local option tax. So one of the really interesting things that came out of it in my conversation, especially with Lang, was if we impose the sales tax, only talk about the sales tax for a second, it is a destination tax. So I will tell you what it says here. It's a destination-based tax, meaning it's based on the location where the purchaser takes possession. Once implemented, businesses must charge local option sales tax on purchases completed within the municipality where it's in effect, or when a taxable item is delivered to a municipality where it's in effect. So since Lang has a business that delivers, it's really possible that people that maybe used to come and get their materials, if they want to have it delivered to Randolph, say Randolph, I don't think Randolph has a local option tax, but delivered to Randolph. So all of a sudden we are putting a really big burden on Bethel Mills, because now if people figure this out and they decide, well, heck, forget it, you just deliver it to me, I don't have to pay this extra tax, then that means, more deliveries, more personnel, trucks, fuel. So whereas someone like Cockadoodle or not Cockadoodle, it's a bad example, or somebody who had sales at Champlain Farms, they're not making deliveries. Someone's coming in, so it's staying there. But I hadn't really thought about that it was a destination tax. And So it's interesting, so thinking it through, I'm feeling like if we move forward with a local option tax, that maybe we should just do meals, rooms, and alcohol. Because currently the estimate on rooms is we have no idea exactly how many Airbnbs are in Bethel. So, and people most likely, depending on where they are, if they're not running through Airbnb or VRBO or something, and they're just doing it on their own, they may or may not be collecting rooms tax. So if we institute rooms, meals, and tax on alcohol, then that's revenue that, would stay in Bethel. And I did a quick estimate on the last 3-year average for meals, an estimate on rooms based on, I took the 3 lowest count places I could find. So, and alcohol is still an unknown. So we were looking without alcohol, maybe 21,600 a year that the town 70% of 1% would be. For Owen had said that they set their bar prices, like say it's $6 a drink. They have all the tax already in that. So when you pay that $6, it includes that. And I think you, Denise, had mentioned maybe once a year they come out with a new drink menu and that may include all the taxes. So, and I did ask Lang, he said he does have other businesses where there is a local option tax and it is also a little bit of an accounting thing, but Owen was forwarding his on to his accountant. I haven't heard back from him yet. But so if you want to decide to move forward, I am hesitant to recommend the sales tax portion. I was really excited about it because I thought it's the only way we're going to get cannabis. But once I spoke to Lang and talked to him and we had a good conversation about it, I thought, it's a good business and I don't want to, he has other options, I don't want him to certainly leave Bethel, but so I'm just not sure what the board is thinking about.
I mean, wouldn't the delivery fee?
Would outweigh the 1% tax, I mean,
I don't know.
if you're,
Hey, we're gonna start a new delivery fee for
Right.
$25 if you need a delivery.
And that could be Jordan. I don't know if he does that now. And maybe if that's something he wants.
Getting what, I think?
So what you're getting, when I used to get topsoil and mulch, it was always, this was years ago, it was always a $35 fee, but I could order a pile of wood and they would deliver it for nothing.
Mhm.
But I'd have to.
Depends
pay
on who you are and what you're getting.
Okay.
And where it's going. If it's going to Sand Hill, it's one thing. If it's going to Sunapee, they deliver down to Sunapee right now.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
different animal.
And they can deliver out of Randolph.
Okay.
They got a warehouse.
I don't know. I haven't had anything delivered to my house from Bethel, so I wouldn't know how that works,
I could stop in and talk to Lang for a minute and see.
I mean, I spent an hour and a half with him last Friday night, so I got the
Just.
take, but I didn't know I didn't know if that's nothing, he didn't say that they do a delivery fee, Jordan.
Well, they do to me.
Uh-huh.
I know that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something, but it was just interesting because it was an aspect that I hadn't thought about.
Well, the let cannabis go just for that. There might be a way to work together to
Because we
work
can't exclude
around
him,
well, right, but there's.
but
gotta
he
be-
may have a workaround.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking about putting it on the warning as a vote, as a non-binding or
No.
as a vote.
Channel 10 on the wall.
It's number 10 on the warning. It would be a vote. You have to vote. The residents registered voters have to approve it. And then what happens is if it approves, then it goes to the state and they only are going to allow, I think it's 5 towns a year. And so it may not even kick in this year, but if it does, we will notify them how our vote was. If it was favorable after town meeting, they would implement it for July 1st. And my last estimation was because I couldn't calculate alcohol or cannabis because I don't have the numbers from the state for that. You were looking at like 80,000. If you drop sales tax, you're looking at and you just go with meals and rooms, my estimate is 20-ish.
No, what I'm saying was, do we put it out there as getting information from the taxpayers about whether they would support it and whatnot, as opposed to putting it on the warning, yes or no?
Well, I guess you'll find.
It's
you're
already
gonna get
on.
feedback either way.
It's already on the warning, correct?
What is, but I can take it off.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the warning yet, but I mean, they're gonna vote it up or down. And I did draft a whole page for local option tax to put in the
No.
in town report, but which I guess wasn't in your packet, but because I was gonna I might
Just
just
as long as
rework
the
it.
information is out there ahead of the vote.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once you guys make a decision, the warning is signed, then it'll go out and we'll put out the information, but
I'm not sure I completely understand what you mean by destination tax.
so I can tell you.
Does that mean that if town of Randolph doesn't have a 1% option tax, they don't, Bethel Mills doesn't have to do that?
Right, but they might institute it and then he would
Then-
still have to
then-
pay the
so-
5% or
So
whatever.
Lang has to give that 1% to Randolph?
No, what
State
happens
that?
is businesses must charge the LOT on taxable purchases completed within the municipality where the LOT is in effect. Say you go to Bethel Mills and you order material and you have it delivered to Randolph. Randolph does not have a LOT, local option tax. So you can't charge the recipient the 1%. You can only charge the recipient. And this is in the information I gave you guys a couple weeks ago. Remember this
Yeah.
whole thing?
Yeah.
It's in here.
Yep.
It's on the second page. And it says,
If you get a delivery to New Hampshire, you still have to pay the tax.
if you get a delivery from New Hampshire in Vermont, you have to pay sales tax because you're the destination, you're the receiver.
No, I know. I'm saying like if you're a Vermont company
Mhm.
receiving the product in New Hampshire
You,
as a delivery.
yeah,
Don't pay tax.
I don't think you pay tax on it.
I don't
But-
know about that. I think in my.
Well, I don't- I mean,
business,
that's-
Every time if I.
You're
have them-
supposed
if I have
to.
them deliver my stuff anywhere,
To a job.
I
in
get
New
charged
Hampshire.
tax.
Well, I can't answer that question because I'm not a state, so
That might be
state to
because you
state.
don't have an official address in
Well,
Hampshire.
I get,
Right,
I haven't had your.
but you're still paying that. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
I would imagine the
That you're
1% would kick
receiving
into
it.
anything. Like if you make it up, purchase something from Home Depot and you had it dropped off of your house.
If I buy from
You
Home
would pay
Depot and have it
tax on
delivered
that
to
just
Vermont.
like
it
you would
does.
normally.
Right.
Yeah,
Right,
And
So-
technically on our taxes, we're supposed to be keeping track of
claiming
everything
what
we
you
buy
buy
in
in
New Hampshire.
and you're
Yeah.
supposed to
And
pay
we're
the tax
supposed to
on
be
it.
paying
That's
tax
right.
on it.
that's right.
So
Well, actually, I'll back up. The companies are supposed to be charging you the tax.
Right.
No, they do, but I say if
That
I go
It
into.
shouldn't be left up to us. to-
No, if I go into Home Depot and buy
That's up to the
$500, which I wouldn't buy lumber because as Paul and I know, trying to flip boards, we ended up going to Bethel Mills. If I buy $500 worth of stuff at Home Depot that's taxable, I am supposed to keep track of that and put it on my Vermont.
Yeah, I remember. You're right. So I don't know how state.
Or you
to
just
state-
hit the little check mark that says nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they
It's that easy.
Something.
Bye-bye.
yeah.
But if you go down there and buy it as a company, if I go down and buy it as a company, Home Depot in theory is supposed to report that or keep
Right.
track of that and
Yeah.
send me a piece of paper at some point in time.
So, yeah.
reporting it.
So these are just the rules that the state gave municipalities. So it's something to, consider. So Jordan's information is really helpful. I didn't realize he charged a delivery fee. That's nothing. It didn't come up in our conversation. He just told me that we expect, might expect to see an uptick. But Jordan's also right. If you lose sales tax, you lose cannabis.
Yeah, I'll stop in and talk to him this week.
And then,
That's a catch. That's
Mhm.
an
Yeah,
That's a big
important
catch.
factor.
yeah, and,
Yeah.
let me see. So I think that, just real quick, I think that you have the 27th. Yeah. So as long, we'll have to sign the warning at the next meeting.
yeah.
But, so that was, so anyway, so as far as the warning goes, it'll just be Article 10 and we'll have to, I'm just gonna circle that because I had it two ways, one with, one without. And, so, and then Chris said, check the math and Article 2 and everything matched, so we don't have to go through that again. As far as, I think last year I accidentally included everything in Article 2, and then we had to stop and do the math to remove it because Dana had pulled it back, figured it out, so.
A quick question. I don't know if you have the answer to it. Why is the shooting range budget almost or over double?
Insurance.
Insurance,
Oh, okay.
insurance premium.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not cheap. And, all right,
So the 1% option tax. So I guess my take on that is, I mean, I'm usually not in favor of adding taxation to people. Unless you have, you know, explored all the options cost wise and you're at the point where the only thing you can do is raise revenue, right?
Mhm.
And I do believe that there are opportunities still in our budget to tighten things down a little bit more if we had to before we went to that. But I will say with just the way the inflation's been, there's going to be continue to be a little bit of an uptick in our budgets here over the next couple of years. And, you know, if you do have to raise revenue, which we're going to have to one way or another,
right.
that's either
tax-
100% from the taxpayers, or in this case, if it was a local option tax, you know, that would be like a gas tax where we're not paying 100% of it. We are paying a portion of it.
Right,
So, I mean, I think in that case where we're not there yet, but in the next couple of years, we're probably going to be there where we're going to kind of max out like
Mhm.
our abilities to cut things without cutting services. And, you know, I just hope people understand that, you know, in this case, if it was a local option tax of 1%, you know, we're only going to be paying, you know, maybe, you know, 40 something percent of that.
yeah,
And then just kind of looking at it, I mean, I don't know, if you buy a $6 beer, I mean, we're talking 6 cents. I mean, you know, it's not like you're going to have to change the menu, you know, or the pricing because it went up 6 cents, or if you buy something at the hardware store and it costs you an extra $1, you know, I can't see that people are gonna be like, oh, you're gonna have to ship it to my house. Like,
If
I'm not gonna come get it for $1, you know,
It's gonna be $1.50.
you know, so I think,
it just.
I think my
depends
opinion
if you're
is
going
if we're gonna do it, we should just do it
Yeah,
for everything. If we're not gonna do it, then not. do it.
Wouldn't that be
Like-
the same as if somebody bought it from Poulin, from Williamstown, had it shipped to Bethel, you're still gonna pay that same, they have to pay that tax because it's getting transferred.
Yeah, wherever they
in
receive it.
here.
Mhm. Yeah, true.
So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of at this point, if
can't
we're
buy it
gonna
in
do
Bethel
it,
without the dollar.
Right.
if we're gonna do it, just do it across the board. If, or, you know,
Keep
maybe
it on
get some
there.
people that will talk about maybe just raising meals tax, but it always seems like whenever taxes get raised, it's always pick on the meals, rooms and board tax. Like, I don't know what it is now, but it must be what, 14% or, I
It's 10.
don't know, but it's always like, it's always pick on them, but not everybody else.
Yeah, because, so I have a LOT explanation, which I'll put in your packet next time, but it does, you know, the closest we have is that market study that was done in 22-23, saying that 40% of the customers came from Bethel, 40% from neighboring towns, 14% from other Vermont towns, and 6% from out of state. So,
But then you have to question, what time of year did they take that
Exactly.
survey? Like, if you
You know.
take it this time of year or in summer, there's more people.
Yeah.
Else, you know,
yeah, I'm just saying that's the only
Yeah.
notes that we had. The other thing, let's go through my pile here. The next one was the Town of Bethel survey. So the first two questions were regard to policing. And then Chris had mentioned today that he wanted to add another question. How much money should the select board be appropriating for human services, i.e. food shelf, Orange County Parachild Center, visiting nurse, et cetera? And then we talked about maybe the ABC there being, you know, between certain amounts of money.
I know Paul had,
20, you know.
Paul had talked about this year, last year, kind of like, what is the target? Like, you know,
Right.
what, if the human services group needs to try and budget something, like, what is that
Right.
we should be telling them? And, you know, for years, it was always kind of easy because it was like 24,000 plus, I don't know. Maybe it went up a little bit because of, you know,
Yeah.
but then it jumped like more than double. So like, what do people at town feel right now?
Right.
We should be giving out. And I talked to Teresa that maybe it might be nice to put together a chart of like the last 5 years and what we have given out so people can see like, you know, the movement in it. And then, you know, maybe some people want to do more, maybe want to do less, or maybe we're good where we're at, you know, but at least get some feedback so that then maybe we could come to you next year and say, looks like the feedback, most of it was in this dollar range, you know?
So you're thinking just the human services list, but are also the food shelf and the
Well, I think, and that's why I said to Teresa, we got to define human services,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah, that's what I mean.
so like, for instance, like the library probably should just be put under like government operations, that shouldn't be a human service, but the food shelf, Tri-Valley Transit, some of those that we're voting on individually should be kind of lumped in there, in my opinion anyways. And we were looking through it. If you look at that whole appropriation section really could probably go away.
Yeah, we need to rework the name
Like-
because some of those like Vermont or VLCT.
A lot of that's just doing business.
Element, those are dues. Those aren't appropriations. They're just dues or
You have to
membership.
pay
So
them.
Yeah, that should,
you could rework the title, but there may be some.
Government
regrouping.
operation.
Yeah, so regrouping, but
because like this year, if you look at the human services, there's $60,565. So if you, between the piece that we're calling human services and all the bolt-ons,
Okay, yeah.
that's how much money's in there. And it's relatively similar to what last year was, so if $60,000 is the target, then that makes it easier for that group to kind of sit down and say, not counting the library, that, then you could say our target 60,000 plus, I don't know, inflation or whatever it is, or something like that. I don't know.
yeah, so we'll have to figure out the numbers and, but I don't, does anyone else, did you like the wording of that? Those questions for the police? I wasn't, I know that was really the only thing I think somebody said was, oh, put some sheriff's questions in there. So I tried to do in regards to policing, what's your biggest safety concern? Choose only one. That's why I put all the above, because I just didn't, the survey app has, it's hard for us to, when everybody can put in a other and write it in, it's really hard to kind of coordinate all those where we'd rather just have answers. But I don't know if anybody has any additional questions that they want on the survey or changes to the survey or.
Well, I kind of almost thought maybe we get rid of the all of the above.
Yeah, okay.
And we may not get everybody's absolute, someone might want all four of those. But
Just-
what is that piece
What's
that
your
really,
biggest number one concern?
really is the
Okay.
number
Yeah,
one?
some neighborhoods speeding was their big issue.
Yeah.
They didn't have a problem with
Some
drugs.
people might be drugs
Some
or,
drugs over there and
Okay.
So change the date to 2025.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Denise told me
Okay.
today. Thank you. Yeah. So does anyone have anything else?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's concerned about. These are all things, but if you have $1 million, then let's look at them all. But now we only have what we have, then you've got to, I don't even know how to say this right, but we are not allowing enough money to do all of the above.
Right. You're right. We're not.
You can't do that.
No,
We're not allowing enough money to take a big bite out of the drugs.
well, and-
Our town-
nor should we.
telling us that.
like, I mean, at the end of the day, I know we'd like to have that. I mean, everybody in town would like to have everything solved. But at the end of the day, I mean, when you think of like drugs and the bigger things, like that's like, state police task force and, that's not really the sheriff's department or the constable or even a town cop's responsibility.
yeah, the Winter County wasn't even involved with that big. thing
Yeah, that's like
Last
big,
Friday.
that's high up stuff.
I
I
could
think
make
there's
it,
a lot of behind the scenes stuff going on that nobody's going to tell us what's going on just because.
Could you more reword it like
I was
based
gonna say-
on our current?
or I could say this is one person. This is 40 hours.
Or
for
based
one
on our
person.
current
Maybe I'm not.
Budgeting
clear
or
enough.
something?
I don't know. I was just looking at it.
Is that what this question is to ask where to put the money?
No, it's to ask, how many hours people would like
No, I meant the second one. Is that,
in regards to policing. What's
Yeah.
your biggest safety concern?
is that
It was
just a
more,
concern? It's not like we're gonna turn around and be like, all right, well now take care of that.
yeah, right. No, I think I just had to make up questions for the police.
I think it just, at the end of the day, if 100 people pick speeding and 60 people pick drugs and the rest of them are less, then you kind of know that speeding and drugs is like the bigger priorities,
Well, I can tell you this is a personal thing. I've got a very expensive truck out there to run, but I'm not getting rid of it. because it's 6,000 pounds and I sit up in the air.
Oh, there you go.
Crazy drivers we have on our road, I'm keeping it so I can stay alive.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we don't need the second
That's
question.
why I'm concerned.
Yeah, the directive was vague in that it was survey questions about the police. So I'm winging it here, but I'm happy to
It's a-
remove that question.
It is a tough question. I understand that.
But I'm also happy to clarify number one, Dave, and say this is one officer at 40 hours a week. Maybe I need to be clearer there. And also too, this is the
Well,
rate.
yeah, I mean, it's only 40 hours a week. It's not gonna be one officer either.
Right, but I
It's-
mean, I'm trying to let people know it's not like we're not getting 6 people for, you know what I mean, at 40 hours a week. I mean, I think it's
So you
understandable.
put $75 an hour, so
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe in
do the breakdown.
wording before, you could put currently 36 hours at whatever that number is.
I said, yeah,
So-
currently for 24 hours per week, and I could say at $65 an hour, because that's where we currently are at.
No, 36 hours and put the dollar value next to it.
Because that's what's going through.
Up in the top paragraph,
Yeah, I know. I'm
Like change
saying,
it to the next.
I'm saying what we're currently contracting with. I can't guarantee we're gonna contract with them because if the budget fails, then I
oh,
won't get
yeah,
it.
okay.
I was just
Yeah.
trying to be legit
All right,
about what
okay.
I was doing
You're
that.
right.
Under the,
Crazy.
I'm just getting very. I don't know what the word is, but just keep see it going on and on and on. And if I step off the sidewalk in the wrong place, I'm in jail.
Yeah, I know.
That's pissing me off.
they have a building that's 30 minutes from here that is open all day long, that has people in it. And you can go up there and you can sit in there and you can tell them all that stuff.
That's-
And-
I have a plan.
And they have a big cafeteria there and they
I'm
all
going-
hang out in the cafeteria and you can talk to them.
I'm going to
I
be
did
there.
it for years,
I'm
like,
going to be there.
Good.
that's what I used to do with the roads because of my business. I used to go there all the time and talk.
Yeah.
And you do, believe it or not, you know, these people, I don't want to say these people, but our legislators don't talk to a lot of people. They really don't. At the end of the day, they make decisions based upon their colleagues and what they think is going on, but not many people actually talk to them. And they really, most of them really like it when somebody sits down and has lunch with them and says, this is what is concerning me, like, or this is what's going on in my town, you know? And I guarantee you, if you did that, they would say,
I'm going.
it's going on in my town too. And you could say, well, what are you doing about it?
We'll
You know?
put together the bail money now for Dave's when we get the
Yeah.
call from the sergeant at arms. Could you come and get a resident of yours?
But you know, it's really a state
We'll send
issue.
word.
Yeah, exactly. Go get
Could,
Dave.
on that question sheet, could see when it says theft, could you just like theft/vandalism or just kind of include that together?
Yep.
I guess it's just disappointing to even ask the question because they're all just, those are all things that everyone wants to see not happening.
Yeah,
So it's hard to sit there and say, well, what do you like the least? Because we
Yeah.
don't have the ability to take care of all of it. So
yeah, we don't have to,
What what do you want to pick?
we don't
We'll
have,
try
to
that.
we don't have to put the question in. I mean,
Yeah, I
because you're
I don't
right.
really
I would-
care
I would
either
take
way.
that
I'm just saying, just.
Take the question out, Paul.
The second part.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. What is it that you want to know about the sheriff's office? I mean, I assume you
I
just want
wasn't
to know how
complaining
much
about
money,
the question. It's just,
But I
it's a
think-
real thing and it's just,
but it makes
here
a
we
good
are
point.
saying,
Yeah, but
we
it, you know,
take care of some of it. What do you
But
think?
you're right. It makes a good, you're right. All of it sucks.
but we have to
So
understand
you gotta
that
pick what you want.
we have different boroughs of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there are common things that happen in all the boroughs. And then some boroughs, maybe one borough's dealing with a lot of theft and vandalism, you know, like, and one might have like, Jesus, they're speeding down my street all the time. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I mean, like, at least it would be nice to just kind of, what is the biggest problem you're facing? Like,
Yeah.
like for me, where I live on, you know, just outside of town, my biggest thing that I see is the people that come around that corner at 70 miles per hour.
I
Like,
think speeding
that is a
ties
big
into
thing for me.
I think speeding
Um,
ties back into the other issues and it's just the same crew that's we're all speeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know like in town, some people it might be drugs or it could be vandalism or
But
theft.
if you look at speeding.
'cause there's been
those people
break-ins
that
and-
Are doing those things are speeding.
There might be some people, like we've dealt with the whole trash ordinance and, you know,
Yeah.
like that, animals. I remember when I first got on the board,
Oh, dogs.
maybe Paul was, we had so many animal issues. Like we had the chickens going down the river. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah, there was, I mean, there was always the dogs complaints and,
Mhm.
You have lamb for supper?
So how many?
It'd have been more like mutton. These were very unkept sheep.
So how many, all right, so
Uh,
who wants to pull the second question? Paul says pull it.
I say keep it and just get an idea. I mean, I think we got some of that anyway from what what we did with all those committees, but you know, see what people's ideas.
And you might get some information out of it.
What do you
I could
guys?
say, I don't,
I was just saying,
I'd leave it.
I like I just
See what
like
it
the
says.
vandalism
See what
added
they
to
say.
the theft because those tend to go hand in hand. Especially if a door's locked.
yeah,
All right, so is there anything else that you want to know about policing or rewording the question as far as,
do you have any rec questions that you wanted on there?
nope? I don't,
No,
you're gonna work with the,
Who vandalized the skate?
yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
And please stop putting your tree rag bus
In the ice skating rink, we had that from last year, it's horrible.
Yeah.
All right, so
Or
everybody's
anywhere.
good with the survey.
Yeah.
Okay. Year in review, that's the next thing I got. Any spelling errors, changes, anything you want in the year in review? Can I just look at yours for a second? I want to make sure I gave you the right one. I did. Any changes on the year in review?
I don't. I read it. I didn't see anything there that,
It used to be that when I came, that the select board chair wrote something and the town manager wrote something, and then it was somebody's great idea to say, why
They
don't the
overlap.
town manager just write one thing for
Yeah.
everybody? I'm like, all right, so no.
It overlaps
It's
a lot.
good with the year in review.
Yep.
Okay, so we're done that, we're done that. Okay, so we have the budget summary. I had a conversation with Chris about the budget summary this afternoon and, so to make sure that, obviously that I'm comparing apples to apples. So what his suggestion was to talk about that the budget is actually 4.83 over last year, not 4.62, which was my mistake. And then he said, kind of talk about right out of the gate that the two biggest movers are Warva and law enforcement. And I can make Warva its own paragraph. I can move up the law enforcement budget piece. And then we talked about maybe doing the 5-year kind of like a bar graph of where we're at over the last 5 years with human services, because we went from like 20,000 to, like 60,000. And so maybe with a bar graph, people would, because obviously this year isn't as bad because we took that hit last year. So the library is looking for the same amount of money. The food shelf is looking for just about the same amount of money. Senior center is looking for the same amount of money. Warva has gone up significantly. So that's a big mover in that piece, but so maybe just having a little graph in there to kind of let people know, just kind of to see the history of it.
Because right now, like if you look at it, the complete budget, if everything gets voted in with the add-ons, like if everything gets voted in, it's 6 cent increase. And of that 6 cents, 4 of those cents come just from the increase in the sheriff's department, which is 2.5 cents, and then Warva, which went up like 1.5 cents. So there's, so one of our, we'll call it main budget that we kind of more control, other than adding services, which we added or increased a service in law enforcement. Warva is kind of one of those things that we're kind of, can't do much about. So really, at the end of the day, our budget went up 2 cents of kind of what we manage. So if we would have kept the services the same, our budget went up 2 cents. Obviously some identities went down, some went up, but, and of that 2 cents, almost 2 cents of that is just increases, which is mostly medical and retirement pieces, or future planning for that. If we're trying to hire that extra person for the public works crew, that we have to build in a family plan just in case they get the family plan,
Right.
even though they may
I
get the
did
single
that.
plan, and you know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
so really at the end of the day, our budget hasn't gone up, I mean, like,
crazy.
other than just the inflationary pieces that we don't have much control over unless we want to, take away services. So,
So those were some ideas that Chris had today. I don't know, Paul, you said you had some notes for
Well, I
the
just, should that say proposed 25, 26?
budget summary? Sure.
And then I had some comments about the second paragraph about the explanation of the additionals and whatnot. It's a good indicator, gives folks a good idea of how much their tax is actually going to go up.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering if we could, after the additional $84 over last year, put in there for a total of $196. So that they know that if we go to both,
Okay.
that's what that number is going to be.
yep,
And then the next line, the additional items, can we change that to the additional warned articles
sure.
would add an additional $84 over last year? And then there's a missing dollar sign.
Yeah, I saw that
Down
later.
there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that too. I was like, oh, wait, there needs to be a dollar. Yeah, the 60,400.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that kind of makes it pretty plain what the
Yep.
additional is going to be.
yeah.
I
I
think
think
the
the
only-
other thing too is, and we might have done it in,
the only thing we have to be careful of there is the additional warned items isn't an additional $84 over last year.
Well, what's it say up above?
yeah,
Is the
Because
additional items will cost.
if you look at the additional warned items, right?
Yeah.
So Article 3 is the library for 35, and that's the same as it was last year, right? So that hasn't changed. Article 4 is the food shelf, which was 30,000 last year, which is 27 this year. So it's actually gone down a little bit. The Tri-Valley Transit was 5,800 last year, and it's 7,600 this year. So we're almost break even at that point. And then the social services, 15,695 was 24 and change last year.
Senior center was 7 this year, I think. Six.
6 plus the 4.
But they
Oh,
voted
okay,
in
they
the
were
extra.
two
It was
different-
so in
Okay, it
there.
was 4.
All right.
And then the senior
Yeah, that's
center's staying the same at 10.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the 4 came out of.
So the only thing that's gone up extrally warned is Warva. Warva's gone up 38,000, which that's, $0.015 on the tax rate. So I think we have to, which the $0.015 on the tax rate would be, on a $350,000 house would be, I don't know, $50 or something like that. So I think we have to just make sure that
So we gotta-
the apples to apples
So
thing.
we got to reword this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll see that
What I'm thinking of is if we have our budget as it stands is going to cost, we said, what, $112.
Yeah.
And then with the additional items, the bolt-ons would increase that number by X. What is
Like you
that?
said,
What is X?
Yeah. 80. I said 84, but I'll have to make sure. I'll go back and double check my numbers. But
the challenge is like last year, we could say that because
yeah,
they hadn't voted it in yet.
right.
But
this-
now that they went and voted all those things in, now we have to compare it to what was voted in last year.
Right.
I mean,
So
it now becomes our budget, right?
Right.
It voted in this
I
year.
don't believe that.
Well, there's.
Oh, you can't say it, you can't say
It's not our
that,
budget, it's an addition.
no, but I'm saying that we're to pay tax on that.
I know, but it's still an addition. It's not in the budget. It's not.
It is in the budget,
we compare it to last.
We are voting on it as a separate article.
but the taxpayers put it in the budget last year. They're paying tax on it right now.
They voted to pay for it as an extra item.
Right, but I'm saying you
And
can't
that
compare
Article
this.
3 or whatever it is, that's not there. It's not in Article 3.
If you voted $35,000 to the library last year as an extra warned item, right?
Correct?
And now this year you're voting $35,000 to the library. It's the same. It didn't go up.
It's still an additional
No, it's not,
item. You're
because
voting-
they already voted 35,000 last year.
Well,
Our completed
I
budget
can't-
last year includes all of what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So when we look at the budget from last year, it'll be 2 million, blah, blah, blah. And so that was the set budget after all the add-ins.
Now, last year, for instance, we could say that because like, for, let's say the food shelf last year, right?
so why do we go to the whole trouble of backing it all out? Why don't we just throw it all into the same, into the one pot?
You could.
That's what I'm saying. Why are,
The whole thought was to have them as separate items because they were such big numbers.
Right.
To have,
Which is fine, but you can't say that it's an increase over last year when it's not.
no, it's not an increase, but it's still a bolt on.
Oh, this in this year, it will be an additional
There you go.
set amount on top of what you're used to paying. It doesn't have to be worded as,
Well, not,
well, this is an addition to,
the only thing you could say is
if you voted in
that
this
would be
year,
an
that's
additional
gonna add
to the
on.
existing budget or something like that. Like you couldn't say to last year. You can't compare.
No, but you can
You
say
can't
this
compare it to
year,
last
if you
year.
vote in the library, the food shelf and this, your taxes are gonna go up X amount. It's not saying that it wasn't accounted for last year. It's just, that's gonna go up this year.
you have the opportunity to save yourself tax one article at a time.
So, yeah, okay. I get
But you're
what
not
saying.
comparing apples to apples though.
You're just letting them know this year, when you vote that. it
It's
can
already
go
in the
up.
budget right now.
Right now, I'm paying for
You're paying for it.
food shelves.
Right.
Now, last year when we were sitting here
Last year's budget.
and the food shelf came and they asked for $30,000, right? And that hadn't been done before, then we could say that if you vote the food shelf in, $30,000 is going up in the budget,
In
right?
the-
But now that it has been voted, it's in the budget. Like,
Yeah, but
if we like it or not, it's in.
Yeah, I
there.
see what you're
But
saying.
this year, you can say, this is the budget, and if you vote in Article 3, it's gonna go up X amount of dollars this year.
From our-
We're not comparing to last year.
It could,
It's gonna cost you X amount of dollars to vote Article 3, yes, or Article 4, yes.
Or
on top of what on top
On top of
what
the-
Article 3 is,
Right.
or Article 2. But you
Just so
can't compare it
people-
to last year.
But just so people know that a yes is X amount of dollars.
Right,
I think that's what Paul wanted.
throwing stuff out, okay. All right, article will cost you, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we have to make sure. I mean, we can't
Oh, yeah.
go to
No,
voters and
But I
say-
think it was just the wording of how it was stated was wrong.
Yeah,
And wording it that way makes it
a little bit.
hopefully clear that
That-
not compared to last year, but if this is voted yes, it's an additional X amount of dollars.
It will cost you blank, okay, can do that. Anything else on the proposed budget summary? This is just what we put in the town report, and then obviously, I mean, last few years, this usually goes over at town meeting, so. All right, so I will make those changes and figure out some different wording. And I did, while we're on that conversation of talking about taxes, one of the things that we did put in here was reminding people that you should keep in mind when you file your homestead declaration with the state of Vermont in the spring of 2025, they will be calculating any prebate you may receive using your 2024 salary and your 2024 property value. The 2025 property value will not be considered in calculating your prebate until the spring of 2026. Same goes for current use. So those two things could reduce the amount of state aid you normally see. So I had a conversation with the appraisers today, Nemrick, they're going around rechecking every property. They'll finish this week, and they kick the list back to us. But he said that he felt that Bethel was in a good position. Some towns were up like 100%. He thinks we're hanging out around the 68, 70% level right now. So obviously, the land schedule overall completely changed. I mean, if your land schedule is based on 2 acres, we're talking what it's currently 2 acres 15 years ago, because that's how last time we had a reappraisal. So what happens is they go through, so the land schedule changes, and they also do like neighborhood codes, like Brian will be one neighborhood code, Ellie would be another, because they're different, parts of town. And so it looks like, well, obviously, as we said, we knew we'd see a big ticket up in the grand list because you haven't had a reappraisal in 15 years. So just while somebody may live in a home that they haven't done any work to, and their house may be valued less or depreciated more, but the land value is going to rise. So I'm hoping that, so
68% of what?
Basically, he's saying that I'm assuming, I interpreted it to be in our conversation that basically we're going to be looking at, that the values are going to rise, obviously, and that some people went up 100% because they hadn't been valued properly in years and were really severely undervalued. If we're going up about 68%, then that kind of means we were
68%.
Yeah, we weren't too bad. We obviously, some worse than others, but, so they're going back through checking all the sales now. But so while we talk about this, and I'm going to project a tax rate, I'm projecting a tax rate based on the grand list I have now. So, that's going to completely change once I go to calculate your tax, come up with a tax number in June. When I calculate your tax rate, I will be basing it off from the new grand list that gets filed in April. So what we're talking about pennies now, it's going to be a lot different, come then. But one of the bigger things is people need to realize if they get a prebate, it could be fine. When I talked to, can't remember her name now, in Randolph, she said it worked, they didn't have a lot of issues with it in Randolph, but if you're on that cusp and your tax bill says your land is this, I think the state with their slide rule and abacus calculate your prebate based on your income and income to, tax rate value, where obviously that's not going to catch up for a year. And the same thing is true of current use. So I can't control it. The state's well aware of it. They haven't made any changes to deal with it. I'm not sure how they would, but
at the end of the day, if the average person's if the average person's home value goes up 68% in Bethel, that doesn't mean that your taxes are going up 68%.
No.
So what
Right.
that means is the grand list has increased by 68%. Okay. And then what happens is whatever that total amount of the grand list is,
Yeah.
we then divide that by, and so I'll make it up. Like right now you could be paying 2 cents. I'm sorry, you could be paying $2 of tax, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where maybe it changes, instead of $2, maybe you're paying $1.40 now. You'll be paying a lower percent rate,
Lower
but for a
dollar.
higher value.
Yeah, you'll paying a lower dollar per hundred rate.
The only thing that will change is if the average for the town of Bethel is $68, and let's say my house is $68 increase or 68% increase, but Paul's is 72 and yours is 54, right? So in that case, you're probably going to be paying a little less tax overall. He's going to be paying a little bit more tax,
Yeah.
and that might be because he just built a brand new building where
Yeah.
yours is much older and mine is kind of in the middle,
Yeah.
So that's the only time you really have to panic,
Yeah.
is that.
Yeah.
It's a complete reset. You're just taking that the pot of money stays the same. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's going to bring people that maybe have a home that hasn't been depreciated properly in years. But their land value is going to keep them up if they're, unless they're unlanded. But someone who owns, a lot of acreage, nice homes, they've always kept maintained, their value is going to go up. But people also, I went through a reappraisal in Brookfield. I got the number. And, I knew right away looking at it, I could sell my house for more than this. And I know there was a lot of people that were like, oh my God, my value went up. That's great, because when the bank comes, you want to live in the Taj Mahal. when the listers come, you want to live in an outhouse, so the truth is in between. So
yeah.
you have to, that's something to keep in mind is that it's, I
Would
think
there-
people see a lot of change.
When this happens, and I don't know, but when this does happen, if there is an average for the town, which there will be, right?
I assume, yeah. He just,
Will there be the opportunity for us to kind of be able to compare what ours is versus the average person in town? Like if the average person's went up 68%,
Mhm.
but mine went up 72%, like will we have that ability to kind of compare rather
well, I
than?
think that in the past,
Do they give you
you
that
have
information?
been given like a big brochure that lists everybody.
Right.
So I don't know if I assume that's what they're doing because I did ask him about like a mailer and he said, yeah, there'll be a brochure going out. And then they are going to,
Variables.
excuse me?
It's too many variables.
Right. You'd have to be comparing apples to apples, know what house. But the other thing too is they are going to do a pre-grievance, which makes a lot of sense where they have, if you get yours, like I didn't go to grieve, but I went to the pre-grievance to ask a couple questions about how they base this, that, or the other, just their methodology. Was completely, I'm like, I don't have a gripe. My house is fine. I'm good. I just want to know how you did X, Y, and Z. And they told me it was great. I left. And but so there's going to be a pre-grievance. So you can sit down with the assessors and go over your lister card. Is there something that's not accurate? And the good news is if you weren't home or even if you were home, they left you a card. You could log into the website. You can see what they're saying, your square footage is and that sort of thing. But if there's if people have questions, they can come in and sit down and before it actually goes to grievance. So maybe you get your questions answered and they say, hey, yeah, you're right. Or, hey, we're, kind of.
Are they actually, well, I don't want to go on and on all night, but do they actually follow up with, like mine, I had sent some information.
Yeah,
And I went in to look at it and it didn't look like they've changed anything.
they may not yet. They could be doing it now. Because
Okay.
they're going through they're going back now. There's 2 teams of 2 and they're going back and looking at every property. They may not pull in every driveway, but they also had some questions. For example, maybe, we'll pick on Brian. Maybe Brian was building a deck and it was only partially done. And they noted that in their inspection. So now they're going back to see, there was a house being built on Dart and he happened to go by, he met with the contractor. I don't know, maybe it was 5 pieces, whatever. And it was partly done. And now it looks like it's 100% complete. So, they're going back to look at a few of those, or I had told him that he couldn't, if it said no trespassing. No. So Kelly or Pam reached out to people to try to set up appointments so that they could go and talk to folks. So, so he's, revisiting some of those properties, but yeah. Oh, yeah, it's not, it's not going to be, fun. Because if they haven't followed any of the conversations, if they haven't checked any of the select board minutes or anything, they've seen Nemrick running around. They know they're getting a reappraisal, but they're going to, wait and we're just going to be like, well, we'll just schedule them for a pre-grievance and they're going to have to come in and some people's taxes are going to go up because they living in a nice place and they've been.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody clearly by now should know that their property values are going up. Because I know my insurance for my house has gone up more than double in the last 3 years. Like now they're like, oh, it's gonna be $500,000 to build my house. And it's like, well, it wasn't like that 3 years ago, but.
You could build your house perhaps $1 million.
But you know what I mean? Like, so you got to know that the value of your home is more now,
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So we
All
won't
right.
be approving any of the reports.
No, you don't have to. Anyways, I put them all in town. I write them and then you guys look at them. I put them in town report, but I'll rework the budget summary and send it around so people can eyeball it, see what they think. And then,
but we have to prove the warning, don't we?
you have to approve the warning, but it sounds like Jordan's going to have a conversation with Lang and we'll sign the warning at the next meeting. We usually sign at the end of January anyways.
And you're gonna rewrite the beginning. part.
Excuse me?
You're gonna rewrite the beginning part.
Yeah, I'm going to rewrite. Quite a bit of that. The budget summary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And the survey. So we'll do that.
So we'll table that till next.
Yeah, you'll sign I don't have to table it. I mean, it was discussion. So we'll approve. So we'll send it to the next, meeting. We usually sign it then anyway. So
Okay.
I think that's it, Denise, for that.
Okay. We'll move on to the official amendment to the traffic ordinance on Gilead.
So this says that we are doing Article 4 speed regulation, Town Highway 7. So we changed it from 40 to 35 miles an hour, beginning at the intersection of Vermont Route 12, extending westerly 1 mile. Speed study was conducted by Two Rivers Ottaquechee Regional Commission from 9/25/24 to 10/8/24, supports the reduction from 40 to 35 miles an hour. Amended on October 29th, effective December 28th, approved this 13th day of January. So we'll need a motion to approve the amendment, and then everybody has to sign.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any more conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
If you want to sign it, you can send it that way, and then I'll give it.
It's gonna take you a little longer to get home tonight, Brian, or not yet, actually.
No, it's effective. Yeah.
Oh,
It's already
effective. You got to slow
effective.
down tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he's been tearing up through there.
All right.
I mean, it just makes sense because that piece was paved and now it's dirt, and
Yeah.
normally the speed would come down anyways, or should.
Yeah.
All right. And we're signing that now. We'll head over to the town manager's report.
So the bids are in for Pinello Bridge construction, and we got a deal. Low bidder, $845,000. Huh? It is, and it's still gonna come in over $1 million, because that's not counting the engineering or the construction management. So all the other bids were over $1 million. So that was ECI. I signed their notice, their notice of award today, and we'll sign a contract.
What is the time frame on that?
It's got to be done by December
2025?
2025, but we want it done in the spring. So I think they were planning on that. So yeah, but they were only $845,000 to get to one house. Be
12.5% of whatever it is.
on the whole. I think when we end, it's going to be around 1.2 mil by the time we calculate. And we've already paid some of this ERAF over the years, because
Yeah, we've already
we've
paid
been
some of it.
budgeting it every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the installation of the temporary bridge, because they have to pull the temporary bridge, return it to wherever,
District.
Colchester, wherever they came from, Winooski, I don't know, something like that. And then, yeah, and then they'll do the, the whole installation, and we moved a pole, and, it's been a good time. Excuse me? I think that we have to hold it for
Period of time.
a period of time, and then I'll be marking it on somebody's calendar. Cause yeah, I don't know how long we have to hold it for before we can throw it up. I want to say like 3 to 5 years.
Got to get paid first,
Yeah. So, yeah.
which will be a couple years.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm going to toot and wave
Yeah.
when I drive by. So we'll see. So, since it is the beginning of the new year, 2025, I think that we need to prioritize in 2025 some ordinance and policy review. I've been talking about doing the personnel policy for, ever. So I actually have it drafted. I just have to go back and review it. And then I'm going to send it to the attorney, and he's going to look it over. And so, policies and ordinance, the traffic ordinance needs to be updated, and we need to work. There was some language in the trash ordinance, and just a lot of policies that we haven't looked at in a while, or ordinances. We did update the cemetery a while ago, but I'm not planning on, knock on wood, digging anything up major this year. There's no big water project that'll finish up. The state's coming through to pave, I believe in 2027. They've been out doing work. Our sidewalk project will be done by then. That goes from Giffords to the school. I think that's going to be in next year's construction season. So I feel like for the select board, it's a good year, as far as I know, you make goals. I think that's one of them, is we need to go through and go through some policies, and a lot of times we don't update them until we need them, or there's a mistake. And Richard is working on the water ordinance and the sewer ordinance. Those haven't been updated. I don't think the sewer ordinance has been updated for many years. So
How about the pump station? We good to go with the pump station? Were you expecting any landmines
at Bethel
to
Mills,
finish that up? No, pump station on Crystal Drive.
Oh, yeah, I'm still waiting. We need the state to, or Kelly's supposed to be assigning a 911 address. She wasn't in today. We need the electrical permit. So that's to be finalized. So no, it'll finish up. Champlin Associates has already been there. And so that's going to finish up. The pump station over near Renee Turgeon's. We're still waiting on this wellhead that Monash was having, specially created for us. So we're hoping that that's gonna hurry up, because Richard and I were doing the water sewer budgets. We always do a draft for town meeting, and I sent him an email and I said, what is going on with the electricity? Like, I'm going through the bills and and I'm like, I am way off. Like, I can't come up with a number. And he said, well, we went back, and it's because we're running one of the pumps so much and we're not really running Geico, and Geico's under our net metering. So we're paying our net metering every month, even though that pump's been shut down. But then our GMP bill has been,
Higher than
significant for the other. Cause I was like, I'm doing the math. I'm like, Richard. And so we're hoping that we can hurry up and get that one back, and so that we'll be able to, slow the use of the P-Vine one. So, but yeah, I think that all will finish, the water project will finally finish, but it may be till the spring.
Is there a long-term capital plan for the water infrastructure?
Yeah.
Other than what we've done?
And sewer. Yep. Before Tim passed away, he had I think we had 7 phases. And, so we have obviously done 2. And then of course the state paved.
Does this get us out of the doghouse
Not
after
yet.
this phase?
We don't, we don't know yet, because we haven't finished this project. So the state hasn't come back yet to do our our water inventory, but we still have a pressure issue on Cherry Hill. So I'm not sure if we'll be out of the doghouse or not, because there's a hydrant there that's just not enough pressure. So that would be another booster pump station. But as I talked to the engineers, Richard and I talked to Aldrich and Elliott, and we're still waiting on this whole EPA thing. We had to inventory every water line in Bethel. So service line, to report what was galvanized, what was plastic, what was what. And apparently the state keeps saying they have this big pot of money, which is obviously being funneled to them from the EPA, but we don't know what they're going to require us to do. So it could be that the town is given money and we have to replace anybody's galvanized sewer line. So I think there'll be some legal challenges to that. Hopefully somebody with the town bigger money than us, but so we don't know yet. So our feeling was, let's wait and see what the EPA is going to say we have to do. And then also, what area of town is that affected? Because we do have a plan of stages. So maybe we end up wrapping that into another project. But since we don't know yet exactly what the EPA is going to do, because they're not going to give out 200 grants to individual homeowners in Bethel. They're going to force it on the town and say, here's what you have to do. Here's the pot of money. And they'll give us some administrative, thing. We're going to have to hire a contractor and deal with it. But until we know more about that, we're just kind of in a holding pattern. And we've been trying to focus more on the sewer plant, because the sewer plant, is in its mid 30-year mark. And Richard's been very good about having some things made. What's that word? When he had like some metal pieces fabricated. Thank you. So he's been good to find people like that, because some of those, it's hard. Some places don't have replacement parts for some of this stuff anymore.
We're on line 84 or 88.
I want to say 84.
Yeah. So it's 40 years.
Yeah. So we're, so anyway, so that's why I was thinking about policies and stuff, is we don't, I don't want to, we'll have road grants, et cetera, but I'm not going to be digging up the town for a water project this year. Working on a grant to update the municipal parking lot. It would include replacing the 2 lights on the back of the parking lot, updated signage, base paving, line striping to increase parking, kind of angle parking with like an entrance exit sign, a bike rack for the maybe down there. I think I sent you the dimensions for an estimate. And putting in, we talked about also doing stormwater at the same point, because when we did the Bethel for All grant, we got the $60,000 and one of them, they gave us 30% designs. This isn't rocket science out here. They kind of want to funnel some of the money into where the trees are behind the stone wall. I also asked her to put money in to do some stone wall upgrades. So if we get the downtown grant, it'll be kind of a nice little fixer upper for down here. So I have to get some letters of support for that.
What are you gonna do for lighting?
I don't know, just replace, those two black lights. I don't replace those
Why?
because one of them got hit by a car and I was thinking that we could maybe find something more energy efficient. I don't know.
They got LED, they're LED.
All right, well, someone ran into one of them. So, well, maybe we won't. I mean, it's just, we'll see when the grant comes out. But no, that's all. It was one of those things you're trying to beef up your grant application by making it look like we're doing all sorts of wonderful things. We can't just ask them to repave the parking lot. So we'll see. Morgan Drury's last day is Sunday, January 19th, 2025. We wish Morgan well with his new career change. We did hire a young man to take over. His name is Lyndon Flint, and he started Sunday. So we have like a week overlap. So if you, I'm not sure what route he's going to be doing, if he's doing, Brian's route or what, that's AJ's decision. But obviously, if you see Morgan, thank him. And if you see Lyndon, welcome him to Bethel. So, and Mike Andrews is, he started on Thanksgiving
He
Day.
lives out in East Bethel, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Well, I
His
don't know.
address is Royalton, but I
His
think.
family lives out there.
Yeah,
lives
I
there.
think he bought his grandma's house.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so we're excited to have him. So we were lucky to fill it that quickly. And, if our budget passes, I'll be looking for a fourth person, after, town meeting to start in July. So we'll see how that goes. So.
Any updates on our biggest revenue generator out here in the parking lot? How that's working?
Last time I asked Pam, I think that you had made less than $10 on here. Yeah, I know. $10, I think.
$10 is what it.
Well, it costs us 1,600 to get 10, so.
Or 1,700, yeah.
It's gonna take 16 years.
Yeah, so, and that was one of the things too,
60 years.
signage too and stuff. So yeah, I think that there was.
Is it all
like
like
10 or 11 bucks, yeah.
properly advertised?
No.
I don't know, like
It's
if you go on the app, does it pop up on the
I
app
don't
and
know.
all that stuff? Or-
They said they would take care of that. I don't know.
That may be something to look
Julie knows.
into.
I don't know anything about the app.
It'd be at least nice to break even on the deal, like-
Eventually.
But that
Well-
$10 that was made, we still have to pay for power though through it, so it's.
Yeah, so it might have been 11, but you didn't make $15 off from it. There was like the dollar something charge when they set it up, and then there was one, which I also think was him.
Yeah, it's only free or the way we.
Free for a year or
Only free for a couple of years and then we have to start paying a subscription, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, I just was wondering, I mean, if it's,
What? 3 years for the subscription, maybe, something like that, yeah.
well, maybe they could just double check and make sure it's being advertised.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Josh.
Fine.
There's a sign on it.
Yeah, but then you gotta drive to, anywhere
Well,
else.
usually if you have an
there's a
electric
big sign
vehicle
beside the
that-
highway.
The electric vehicles show on their GPS there where all the
Yeah, no, I'll
stations.
have to ask, I'll ask Josh, but, and that would be part of the signage for, it would be some of the wayfinding signage that Andrew Plotsky was just awarded the RFP for. Part of the VOREC grant was that wayfinding, and he's gonna do some sign design, so that would be something that we'd be able to do the parking lot with the new, the new signage, so.
But that's a low phase charger, isn't it?
Yeah,
So it
Yeah.
takes a while.
No, it's level 2,
yeah.
which is,
So, all
not
right, so we
3
talked about
hours,
that,
but
Dr.
it's
Morgan, and then I just gave you
4 or 5
a little
day.
update with the assistance of Two Rivers. We've applied for the following grants, so there's not including our local match, is 20,000 for a Camp Brook Road culvert, 40,000 for Gilead Brook Road bank stabilization, 60,000 for Camp Brook Road culvert, 27, 220,380 for Falcon Drive stormwater improvement. And then another grants and aid, which is usually the ditching projects that we do, like we did one on Dart. There's another 50,500. So those applications are out and not including the municipal parking lot because we're still getting estimates on some stuff. And
Are you gonna try to look at a class or a
Paving
grant for, yeah, for
North
the,
Road,
you're going for North Road?
I don't want to.
What about the Mountain Road?
Well, I thought that when we were at our, I thought that when we had our steering committee meeting, you, AJ, Doug and I thought that we had agreed that North Road should be the next paving grant. Because we still
Well,
had
yeah, I mean,
culvert work and stuff to do on Camp Road.
North Road is getting challenged, but that lower mile and a half of Campbrook is
Yeah.
ugly.
Horrible.
So, yeah, so we can,
Still doesn't slow them down.
well, the application isn't out yet. So anyways, it'll come out in spring. We'll take a peek at that.
It's called a speed control.
Or is there opportunity to, no, I don't want to use the word federally funded.
Oh, God, I don't want to do another earmark. That's been a nightmare. Yeah, so we'll see. So we haven't done another paving grant yet. But when that comes out, we'll talk about it at the steering committee meeting, whether it's going to be North Road or Camp Brook. And talk about that, because I know
So-
we had discussed that.
Teresa, that second column is the match.
Second
For-
column is the
Yep.
match.
Is the
Yep.
match, okay.
Yeah.
Total, all right.
Mhm.
You also have on here, Teresa, municipal resolution for the downtown transportation grant.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. We didn't sign that. I thought yeah, Jordan and Dave moved it. Didn't I have you sign it? Maybe I didn't.
No, that was a traffic ordinance. wasn't it?
Good Lord. Could be.
No, I don't think. I
Yeah,
think
because
it's-
Eric Webb had to sign something. So where's yours? Thanks, Denise. I'll be calling you guys and asking to come in right here. Yep. So it's 13th day of January. 2025. So yes, you guys need to sign beside your name. Thank you. So that's the resolution for that. So I think that's everything on the select board or on the town manager report. Denise, there is in your packet, there is something a little weird. I gave you guys a copy of the 2024 equalization study and I don't know what the state is up to because we had taken a hit on our CLA last year. Common level of appraisal, which is the average of your 3 years in sales. And we'd taken a hit last year and that affects your school tax.
Yeah.
So
And you,
we had planned on, we knew we'd take another hit this year. And then I got the equalization study and the state of Vermont, they
Artificially adjusted it.
yeah, they came up with this new plan.
It's not fixed. It's expanding.
All they did was they just moved the numbers around.
Yeah, what they did was they came in and they ended up they applied a state average to our tax rates. And they passed this Act 183, which is this adjustment factor. So the statewide adjustment is thank you, average level of appraisal for all of Vermont. So our CLA, which we were expecting to be around 67%, went to 92.95. I can't explain this to you. I don't know where the money's coming from. It's good
Well-
for tax rate, but where's the money coming from?
The challenge is on the school end,
I don't know.
the money comes from three pots. So one part is the CLA, which
Yeah.
is this piece, which was dragging things down last year pretty hard.
Yeah.
The other piece is the yield, which the yield is basically all the money that the state needs to fund education. And then they divide it up by weighted averages of communities and they get a yield percentage. And then the other piece is like a dollar figure that's put on every kid. So like
No, your per pupil.
every
spending.
person you have is,
Right.
well, it used to be per pupil. It's different now, but
Of course.
you know, $18,000 per kid. And you use those three. The challenge is they just arbitrarily adjusted the numbers. So if you adjust one number, it's going to affect another number. You know, it's like,
I don't get, I mean,
they're probably feeling good that they won, but like, then that means it has to come out of something else. Like
Right.
either you're going to have to less per pupil or less on your yield. I mean,
I don't know how they're going to do it because the statewide average for Bethel, I mean, you're putting Chittenden County into our Windsor County pot. I saw the number. I texted Chris and I said, did you hear about this? Like, I mean, I don't know how it's going to work out as taxpayers, but so our CLA took a 30% jump, which
The only good thing
I don't
I've
know.
heard is on the school end is we should be in a very similar position as we were last year, which, it got advertised as a 2.5 cent increase, but it ended up being 0 at the school.
yeah.
So it sounds like it's going to be kind of the same at the school level. Now, there were other communities that really got hit hard.
Mhm.
We weren't one of them, but it sounds like it's going to be a repeat of last year for us, which that's good for us.
Yeah, it is. And the CLA is good. But so I don't know. I just couldn't, I saw it and was like, what is this? But, and of course our, it's just kind of funny. And our COD is over 20%, which obviously means we need a reappraisal. Ours at 24.62 and we're going through one now. So, but yeah, when I saw the statewide adjustment, I was like, huh.
I want to know how they're going to get the money for it.
Well, when Chris texted me, where's the money coming from? I said, can't you feel it leaving your wallet right now? Like, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
so
All right.
I'm good. Thank you, Denise.
You're welcome. Now we have the select board minutes from 12/16/24. Do I have a motion?
A motion we accept as written.
Any conversation? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Other communications, you'll see some in your packet.
All sorts of minutes. And I think Lindley was behind in her fire advisory.
Yeah, there was a
Why you
bunch
have
of
so
Bing,
many?
bing, 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 bing. Yeah.
I have so many all of a sudden, she was playing catch up.
But
There's
in there.
Rick Benson's letter of resignation, which you guys accepted, but we didn't have the letter at the time. So,
They have, committee tomorrow, they have, even though we resigned.
I don't know. I'm not sure. You can check the website or call up.
The web says they have their meetings on the second Tuesday of the month.
Then I would assume they're still gonna have meetings even though he's not there. They're
Right.
gonna pick a different
Just curious.
leader, I think. In the packet to Denise was a letter that Bethel and Danville that we
Yes.
wrote.
Yep.
Because Randolph wants to, they have the same plan we do, which is like a 30-year. And if you have police officers, you generally want a 20-year plan. And so what he's trying to do is it takes legislative action
Change
for you to change your VSERS plan. So he'd written to me and Janice and Danville, and we said, yeah, we're happily going to support it, but we want them to take action to include Bethel and Danville too. So
We want to help.
kill two birds, one stone. So if for some reason Bethel or Danville ever started a police department, let the legislature handle Randolph, Danville. We're the only three. And that will all at the same time. And then we're taking care of moving forward instead of us having to petition later. But whether or not they will or not, I don't know, but we tried.
Down there.
And then the Ware Valley Ambulance gave you wanted their financials, they gave you those.
Oh, yeah.
The sheriff gave me this huge packet of every
Yeah.
stop you've ever had. Not every stop, but I think in 24. So I gave you that.
Yeah.
He sent that along. But yeah, so that's what the Trevor Lashaway letter
Okay.
was. So hopefully he gets it corrected because it's going to be hard for them to retain police officers if they can't get them. They're not competitive with everybody else for the 20-year plan. So,
Makes sense.
so yeah, Danville was like, yeah, we agree with her. Let's make them do it for everybody, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Are there any other communications? Any other business to come before the board?
I have a question about construction going on just south of us. Has anyone heard anything about what the power company is doing down there?
What the who?
Power company is doing,
Where at?
Where?
right across the Royalton line. Down by the down by the Green Mountain Power Building.
I don't know what they're
I
doing.
mean, that's like
No, it's
that's
not like a locker room
that's like a
going through there.
$1.5 million project.
In Royalton.
Yeah, but it's right next to us and they came and presented a resiliency plan to me,
Mm-hmm.
to us.
Yeah.
And I went to
Yeah.
just because I'm curious. I see electric company and all kinds of conduit. And I'm saying, what the hell?
Uh-huh.
There's gonna be 5 huge batteries and transformers put on this. I don't know,
At the GMP building?
just across the wood line.
It was town land there.
It's Royalton, it was Royalton land.
Yeah.
Right next to the solar field. And the guy running the show doesn't know if it's gonna be tied into the solar panels or how, but he's talking about some serious batteries and transformers.
Is it part of that resiliency thing or?
We don't know.
He didn't know.
I can
I
ask.
asked that question.
Brian, you want to find that out for us?
I saw that the other day.
He miles of conduit in the ground.
You talk to your people and Teresa talk to
yeah,
her
I'll talk
people.
to Tanya, yeah.
Then we'll meet in the office. You bring the cookies.
In Royalton.
Yeah, that works. Decaf only.
Yeah, so we'll, yeah, I can
Curiosity.
find out. Yeah, no, I can ask her. She,
And it might be nice to know.
yeah, no, she's great. I'll send her an email tomorrow and she always responds like that. So we'll find out, but I personally don't know. I get enough time with Bethel. I don't keep track what Royalton's up to.
Well, it's not, it's
Yeah.
electric, so that's my concern.
Yeah, no, I don't know what they're
I
doing.
was Seen something going on that I.
Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they are beefing up. As far as we know, they did not get that $19 million EPA grant. But
Supposedly he's got 2 or 3 of these going on in the state somewhere. This kid, I call him a kid because he's only 40.
Rochester's got something going on. Right?
He doesn't. He's got one in Middlebury and this one, the kid that's running this show.
For 100% he's already spit there. Something.
I'll probably jinx it, but can you just let AJ know that they've been doing a good job with the sidewalks and things like that? I know in years past, we've had the sidewalk issues
Yeah.
of being
Yeah.
cleared in time and
I didn't see that.
yeah, it's,
I know he's down a person now, so that'll be
well, yeah,
harder,
he'll be
but
back up now, but he's,
Where's my
actually, that's
approval?
Richard.
but,
Richard.
well, I saw AJ in it
Oh,
himself.
was he? Oh, good.
Down here last
Richard's
week.
doing
we'll
it
call
too, because Richard will do
Yeah.
water sewer and then come out and help them. And then when we were down Morgan and Fall, Richard was, wow.
Dave said.
That stuff goes along with us. so.
It does.
What the
I'll
hell?
do it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
I'm done.